In 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host for today because this was a film that I chose partially because it is relatively newer. Another reason is the crazy dude that I started this podcast with is actually from Croatia. And this was the first film that I've come across myself that is from Croatia. And I know that there are a ton of films from Croatia. It's just it's newer, and it's based on an Aesop's fable, along with uh, the poem of La Fontaine. And I guess it's a new adaptation of the tale of Antoinette, of Cricket and Antoinette. Which let's see what IMDb says about the film, and then I'll go into who directed it and all that jazz. So IMDb says here is a new take on the famous fairy tale first told by Aesop and then Jean de La Fontaine. Cat, a guitar-playing cricket, leads a band to entertain and the carefree bugs. Nearby lives Antoinette, heiress of an anthill, where music is forbidden and only discipline and hard work are allowed. By accident, they meet, and an affection grows between them. The ant girl tries to warn the crickets of the upcoming winter, to no avail. When Aunt Theodore, an over-ambitious aunt, kidnaps Antoinette, it's Cat and his friends who come to her rescue. So, a couple things. The film is directed by Kristijan Milc. The screenwriter or the script writer is Luca Rukavina, and Dino Kirpan appears to be a producer of the film, but all three of these gentlemen seem to be tagged as directors, at least according to IMDb. But let's see. Apparently, Tara Thaler is the voice of Antoinette. Marco Petric is the voice of Cat. Luka Petrusic is the voice of Rudy. Katarina Mediraza is the voice of Antenna. Hervoje Kex is the voice of Zohar. Drazen Kuchek is the voice of Antikvar, and so on and so forth. So, first impressions. And
sorry for disappearing. I had some glitch. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
but
okay.
You told me just a little bit ago what the animation studios were, or what not. Why don't you repeat that?
According to Wikipedia, I didn't really know that information myself, even though the movie is from my country. The animation studios are apparently Diedra and Zagreb Film.
Okay. So I guess those are the names that are tagged on to production and distribution and whatnot.
Oh yeah, On Wikipedia, it says Diedra production and Zagreb film co-production. So I guess that's it.
Yep, and I looked a little bit. Apparently, it was distributed through a wider a wider thing. Apparently, um, I guess there's something called attraction distribution, which it says worldwide from 2021. So I'm assuming that that is where the sales are going for this movie. But that being said, you are from Croatia. You watched it in the Croatian language. What did you think of the movie? Was this a first time watch?
Actually, yes, it was the first time because I rarely actually watch cartoons these days, but this one was actually fun. I have to say, I enjoyed it more than I expected because it deals with interesting topics. And even though it takes place in an animal world, it contains some moral messages that nowadays really do need to be pointed out to many people, unfortunately. And it was really good, and I'm glad I saw it.
Okay. Is there anything else to your first impressions, or is that it for right now?
Well, for right now, yeah, one thing I would say kind of surprised me was that the names were alluding to English words, even though the movie is Croatian. Like the main male character is named Cat, which is an allusion to the English word cricket, while the female character Antoinette, the name sounds a bit like ant, the English word for an ant, which is nothing like the Croatian word. But yeah, now when you said it's an adaptation of an older story that's not really Croatian. That kind of explains it. So maybe the names are from that old tale and not actually from this movie. So that kind of explains it.
Okay. Heading over to you, Kroll, since I know you're not a fan of reading things, how was your take on viewing Cricket and Antoinette?
Okay, first I'm gonna start with you jackass. I love reading. I don't like reading my movies. I'll read people any day of the week. I'll challenge you. Okay, that being, I enjoyed the movie. It's the first time watching it. You said it was like A Bug's Life, which I have not seen, so I cannot say if it was or wasn't for me. Um, I did enjoy the story. I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed the animation. It really felt like it was. I mean, besides the being in a different language, the animation itself felt like it was something that would have been done here in the United States. So it didn't feel in any other country at all. Like nothing, like when you watch a Japanese animation, you know it's a Japanese animation, and other ones, this one really felt like an American. To me, that's a compliment. I don't know how others might feel that way, but yeah, I think it's a compliment because I really like the American style of of cartoons and stuff. It really reminded me of like Pixar. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed it. The music was, upbeat and happy and kind of made you tap your foot and bop your head a little bit. Yeah, I definitely noticed the music in this one. Obviously, it's a big part of the story. There was definitely some funny scenes in there, and the main character Antoinette. Okay, I'm gonna say the English version is Antoinette because that's what it said when it wrote it. I know it's called her Antoinetta, but yeah. And when it translated to English, it said Antoinette. So, anyways, she seemed very unhappy, except when she was singing. Um, and I really liked the story, and I didn't realize that the psychic was actually her grandmother. So that was a little bit of a twist. Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry. But anyways, yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think I would, but lots of times you pick movies, and I think that way. And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. But that's the whole thing about being on the show is try things that we normally wouldn't try.
Yeah, and I think that's why I kind of was. Animations aren't my strong suit either. It's Brandon who actually got me more into like Japanese animation and whatnot, more than I actually was, and so I like the fact that I've been pushed to like different things from different countries and whatnot. So this was one that I came across. We're coming up on our Versus Awards this year, where we're watching like a ton of 2023 movies, and this one came from 2023. And when the opportunity came up for a discussion on it, I took it. Especially since we have a local Zagrebian here.
I need to. I need to ask one question before I finish up here. Philip,
Yes.
did you actually watch this in Croatian subtitles just because you're so used to reading your movies, or did you sit back and actually just watch the movie?
I wasn't using any subtitles. Yeah, it's in my language. I was wondering if there was an English dub, because if you guys were going for an English dub, then I would have watched that version too, so that we all watch the same one. But I didn't find an English dub, and then you all told me you were watching the Croatian version with subtitles, so I watched the Croatian version without subtitles, since yeah, it's my language.
Yeah, I knew it was your language, but I know you're so used to reading your movies because like every movie you watch just about is you just read it. So I didn't know if you just out of habit you wanted to put like words on there like the captions or not. So I was just curious because this is the first Croatian movie I've been part of. So I never had a chance to ask you before. So
Are you pretty much done with your first impressions then?
yeah, yeah. And if you watched the same version as us, you technically would have watched it Croatian, but with English. That's what we did.
Yep. And I had
uh,
downloaded it from a different source. I didn't watch it on YouTube. I found it with the English subtitles separately. So,
That's
um,
weird. I had no problem finding it on YouTube.
but in any case, Tammy, was this the first time watch for you?
Yes, and I'm not one. I don't like subtitles that much, and I'm not a big cartoon either.
Are you
But but I actually did like it. I thought it was really cute. Um, because I did actually see the movie A Bug's Life, so it kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah,
The way,
there have been other movies that were done about bugs, like A Bug's Life, or I would say The Ant Bully is another one, and there was another one called Ants with a Z.
well,
That
I think a lot of the animation reminded me of it too. So,
yep. So it's in
but
the
yeah,
spirit of that kind.
but I thought it was cute. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna because like I said, I'm not really into the cartoons, and I don't really like to read my movies either. So here you wanted me to watch a cartoon and read it, and I'm like, really?
That's what I was. I'm like, the Bastard even makes us. I mean, I love cartoons for certain ones, like ones that I love. So I felt the same way, but I was pleasantly surprised.
I was too. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, like, um, I will say that you did a little bit of the spoiler about the grandma. I had a feeling before it came out that she did not look like a damn cricket.
I was, yeah, before it was revealed who she was, I kept wondering what species of insect she was, since they weren't saying it, so I was curious about it until they revealed it, and it was quite a revelation.
Yeah, I had a feeling that there was something up with that because it's like you don't look like no cricket.
Uh, yeah, she did look more like Annette, but then again, I wasn't sure.
Me too, because I mean, it's like, well, maybe that's what an old cricket looks like.
I was thinking too.
But yep, that's all I got for right now.
Yep. And this was the first time watch for me too. I was waiting to watch it and an opportunity to share it with you guys, partially because I was excited about finding that it was filmed from dudes in Croatia, and it just so happens that I've been buddying with a Croatian dude for quite some time here, and I wanted to share it with us as an experience. So I'm glad that it was a good one and it wasn't a disappointment for any of us.
Thank you.
It was a film that was based on an older story, which I'm not sure whether they've done any adaptations of the story before. I'm sure they've done it in Looney Tunes because um there are many Aesop's fables that the Looney Tunes have somewhat averted to. Like
Who
I
possibly?
remember one about and I know it's based on a Aesop's fable of some sort. Uh, about two heads being better than one, about one little moose and one big moose that ended up growing up, and it was a story told by crickets. So, I think it was called Morris the Moose.
Maybe I'm
But there have
actually
been
not.
many animations that have done adaptations of Aesop's fables before. But to learn that it was also based on a poem by a French guy, kind of cool. That being said, I did and was reminded of because Disney actually was behind Bugs Life. And so it did kind of remind me of that type of animation. And so I'm glad that Croatia can come up with something that looks and sounds like it could make uh, a run for their money, possibly in the near future. I'm not sure how many animations have come out of Croatia. So, do you know of any that have come out of Croatia before this? Philippe, any films that were animated that came from Croatia before this?
Were you unable to hear me again?
Yeah, I was unable to hear you.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I do know of one animated movie from Croatia. Well, it's most certainly not the only one, but it's the most well-known one to me. But I'm not sure if it ever got out of this country, if it has any international translations or anything. It's called čudnovate zgode Šegrta Hlapića, which in English it would be translated like uh, wait, actually I will look it up to see if it exists in English. Uh, uh, oh, in English it's called Lapić the Little Shoemaker.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Uh, apparently, it's also known as the Brave Adventures of Lapich. So
Okay.
that may be how you can find it.
Okay. Well, it would be interesting to see if I could track it down eventually, just to see if it was anything that was worthwhile or whatnot. Maybe they might have actually made a translation of it down the road. But that being said, we do have a little bit of a plot going into this animation. I do want to say that I did enjoy the tale. I thought there was a decent enough villain, and the story definitely was moralistic, and I'm glad that I was able to see it. So let's go into the plot. So Antoinette appears to be the heiress of this anthill. It is noticeable that they are missing evidently the old patriarch of the anthill, um, and because of that, I believe Antoinette's father has gotten a little bit more uh, paranoid in his viewpoints, in his leadership of this anthill and their ways, because he seems to have a very narrow view of crickets and music and anything that delays work. So I believe that we are introduced to Antoinette while she is getting ready to graduate as an aunt. Um, and I guess some of her other uh, antlings are also going to be graduating. One of them appears to be a suitor of hers, which also he ends up being the antagonist of the story. But I guess and Theodore, I guess that's his name.
Yeah.
He, after this graduation, is put in the job of being like head, um, shall I say, architect of the anthill. But during while this happens, I guess Antoinette is late to the ceremony, and she ends up trying to find a different way into the ceremonial room, but she ends up falling from the anthill and getting flown and blown by the wind into the encampment of this band of crickets that kind of reminds me of like the Bremen Town musicians almost a little bit, because they look a little bit weird and interesting, almost like they're hipsters of sorts, with their musician equipments and whatnot. What do y'all think about Antoinette, first, offhand, and her aunt society, so to speak? Tammy, what do you think about the that up until Antoinette kind of gets carried away, and you know, what do you think about her and her fellow aunts?
Well, it seems like they're very strict. It's everything is work, no play.
All work and no play makes a dumb man.
Yeah, it seems like she's you know she's looking for more, but she doesn't know how to get more or how to branch out because you know um she's never really been exposed to music because they're not supposed to play music or listen to music. And I mean, I understand the structure of the society, their society, you know, having having a structure of, so there's not chaos, but they take it a little bit too far because that's all there is you do this, you do this, you do this, everything's like planned out for you type of thing, and
You don't have a choice in the matter.
right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I like her because it's she she's got a more of an open mind because she wants more, and she's trying to find a way to get it. So I get a kick out of her.
Actually, yeah, I like her for the same reason, for kind of being, in a way, an outcast, someone who thinks out of the box, who questions everything the others blindly accept. Like, she's the only one who takes the red pill while the others take a blue one in terms of Matrix. Um, and yeah, actually, that's a kind of philosophical topic that I personally often think about, even for. Okay, in this case, it's about acts, but what she thinks about can kind of be applied on a human life. Like, for us, it's also kind of well set up. You have to graduate from college, get a job, get married, have children, and apparently that's all there is to life. And I'm like, no, that, that's just not enough for me. So yeah, I found her kind of relatable in that sense. Uh, guys,
yeah.
am I having a glitch or did you all go quiet for some reason?
No,
Yeah.
for some reason, my StreamYard kind of like did a still on me. But in any case, um, moving on. What about you, Crow? What did you think about Antoinette and her aunt, society of things? Did you?
I like Antoinette for the same reasons. Tammy and Phil have already mentioned that she thinks outside the box. She doesn't just follow, and she questions everything. That's how I usually am. Um, you know, I question everything. Don't give me a solid, believable answer. I won't think of you as any kind of authority in anything because telling me a generic answer is not an answer. So I like her character because she thinks outside the box and thinks hey, okay, I understand living in the home and why we live in the anthill and everything to protect us, but all we do is work. And that's supposed to be fun to me, but it doesn't really feel like it would be fun. So she questions it, and it's good because not only is she questioning it for herself, but she's going to be queen someday. So therefore, she will be in the position to change. So it was definitely good seeing I guess a princess per se think this way and feel this way. Um, and of course, yeah. So she was definitely a interesting character, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Okay. So she ends up flying into the encampment of this band of crickets, and I'm not even sure what they're called. Do you remember what they're called, Boris? At all?
I thought it was the main guy's name, and
Cat
well,
and the Crickets.
Ket
Cat.
and the
Yeah,
Crickets.
yeah, Cat and the
Okay.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ket is the apparently the main singer, even though some of his bandmates are like questioning whether he's a singer or not. But they are definitely startled by Antoinette's appearance there, and they don't really want to like help her back at all. But they end up doing like that old thing of who draws the short straw. To who takes her back, and it ends up being Ket.
Which one thing you didn't mention before we got to this part is I got a kick out of they showed them their concert,
Yeah,
and I thought that was kind of neat, because it's like, yeah, that looks like a concert we have. Yeah, all right, that's cool.
well, yeah, it appears like this is like the cricket version of uh, what was that 60s thing that your dad said he went to.
Which one?
I'm talking about the big one,
But
the one that happened in Illinois, if I remember correctly.
Who?
He didn't go to Illinois.
Or was it Woodstock? Woodstock. I was thinking
Oh
of
yeah, he went to
it's
Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Woodstock. Yeah, it was like the cricket version of Woodstock or something like that. So, but yeah, that was an interesting thing, and of course, when she lands in their encampment, it's like in between shows or whatnot, and he ends up taking her back, and they end up talking a little bit, and then of course she gets taken back inside the anthill, and he
Well,
uh,
while they're talking, she realizes that he doesn't have crickets don't have a home like what she's used to. Their home is the whole outside, and he shows her. He goes and lays on a rock. He goes on a leaf. He goes over by the flowers and stuff. They don't have a structure as like their home, where ants do. And so they were comparing how they live on their walk. You know.
yeah, he does do that, um, and the way of their life is like more outdoorsy, and it's it's kind of something that they've never been led to believe that there is a winter too. So, which
Yeah,
will,
they're very carefree, kind of.
yeah. So, But he does do the honorable thing of taking her home, and she goes inside, but then as he's about to leave, two ant soldiers end up coming down and arresting him because they think that he's coming to destroy their world. And evidently, there's some kind of code that if they come across a cricket or anything of that, they are supposed to, um, take action, and uh, they do. They put him in a cell, and um, they end up those two end up falling asleep, but he ends up finding out that his jail cell is actually uh, a musical instrument. And he ends up starting to make some music in his cell, and that's kind of what draws Antoinette to
Yeah, and he
his
put
jail cell.
cards.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was an interesting moment.
What were you saying?
He puts
Uh,
to sleep.
yep, puts them to sleep, but he ends up uh, Antoinette ends up coming down, and he ends up unlocking his door or whatnot, and ends up leading him to a passageway that will lead him out. But while he was on his way out, he grabbed his um, ukulele or whatever the heck his instrument was, and wakes their butts up, and they end up chasing him. And but ultimately he does get um, out of the building or the structure, and I guess Antoinette ends up going with him to what they call Rochella, which is a festival of sorts for music. But before anything else, she ends up going and seeing um, a fortune teller, um, which we later find out who this fortune teller is. But um, she tells her that she is to be a singer in the future, and gives her this magical raspberry that she has to wear on her head.
Yeah.
And of course, Antoinette thinks that it's because of this magical raspberry hat that she's able to sing, because
Yeah, uh, which kind of makes me wonder. In the end, it was revealed by the psychic herself that the hat was actually irrelevant. So why did she give it to her in the first place and present it as something
Placebo effect.
special?
You never
it's kind of like liquid courage.
heard of the
Liquid.
placebo effect?
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
You never heard
Yes,
the placebo effect?
Oh,
yeah. The raspberry
oh,
gave her courage.
Yep.
Yes. It made she believed that the power came from the hat when the power was really inside of her all along. The more you know.
Some people need help to get past that thought of "I can't" instead of "I will" or "I can."
We're our own worst enemies.
Yep.
This
Um,
movie taught us a valuable lesson.
Houdini called it misdirection. So, in any case, so she begins to sing, and she sang in front of a mirror first, and realized she could. And I guess the crickets ended up hearing her voice, and they were like, "Wow, and that bar bug. I like the bar bug. As
Ah,
as a character.
the
He immediately
cockroach.
hired her. Yeah, the cockroach. He immediately hired her on the spot, and
Yeah.
we see a montage of her singing in front of other crickets or whatnot, and she started to become popular. Um, Evidently, she had. I think that this is not just one night. I think it's actually several nights that she actually sings with the band. And by now, back at the anthill, she is missed by her father, and I don't know what the hell Antiodor is doing. He thinks he's this like big time builder, and he is fucking up.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he built the darn thing upside down, and then spoiler alert, tried to blame the fact that it did fall down on the crickets later on. You know,
Yeah.
so.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, at that point I figured out he was kind of an asshole, but I didn't. I didn't expect him to go as far as he did.
well,
I,
no.
I saw him as an asshole right from the beginning.
Well, yeah, because he was trying to tell everyone that Antoinette would be impressed with him no matter what, and she'll say yes to whatever I say, and they're like, I'm not sure that she actually feels the same way, dude. You know, in the ceremony, so it's like, you know, he had this confidence
He
that
seemed very full of himself,
yep.
very, and I'm gonna be this and I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna do this and everybody's gonna, and it's like, okay, dude.
Well, at first, uh, he sent these soldier ants to go and find Antoinette, and when they came up empty-handed, that's when
Well,
Antiodor.
they weren't empty, completely empty. They got glittered. The cricket women,
Oh yeah, that was funny.
the groupies.
Yeah, the groupie girls. That was a funny moment, and they came back without Antoinette, no matter what. So they couldn't find her. Well, when that happened, Antiodor was somewhere nearby, and he was already fucking up. And he convinced the dad that you're not really angry at me. You miss Antoinette, don't you? Instead of letting him get mad at him for all his fuck ups, um, he made it about Antoinette, and he was like, "Well, why don't I go and find Antoinette?" You know. So he does, and when he does find her, she's she uh, immediately is excited to tell him about like her life there, and that the fact that she found out that she could sing, and that she's with this band, and that she wants him to come see her sing, but he doesn't like that idea. So he goes and sabotages the instruments and whatnot, and um, meanwhile, in all the excitement, Antoinette is asked out on a date. Um, what did y'all think about Antiodor and what he did to the band instruments? I thought that was
He's a
cool.
jackass, and he got what was coming to him at the end.
Definitely. I mean, he was a major asshole. What he did to the band, and then what he did to Antoinette near the end.
Yeah, he kind of did a couple of spadows to the instruments.
Spudao. Oh yeah, indeed.
But yeah, when they come back from the date and realize that all the instruments are whatever, something happens that makes her run back to the ant hill, and I think it's the feelings that she is beginning to feel towards, and I think she kind of knows exactly what happened and whom, because she had seen Antiodor there before, and so I think that's why she ran off. Um, and then
In the meantime, though, she's also trying to warn them about winter, and nobody's listening to her.
Winter is coming.
yep, and they don't believe
Uh,
winter because that's what this because there is an older bug in the festival grounds that always seems to spell doomsday of this winter. Which is kind of a fun character because he's like this uh, uh, um the character that warns of doom or doomsday or whatnot, and they all think that he is just nuts. That there's nothing like that.
Well, they think it's
uh,
just a tall tale, something that was told to kids, little crickets, that it's just a story,
Mhm.
yeah, or like some prophecy that only some crazy religious fanatics would believe in.
And it's not until they have a talk with the roach guy, the cockroach bartender, that he's thinking of moving his place because of winter, and they're like, what? So you're telling telling us that Antoinette was right, and Cat, he is actually not drinking whatever drink that they're drinking at that point in time, because evidently it's nectar that gets bugs drunk.
Away instead of drinking it.
Apparently.
But he basically figures out that Antoinette was telling the truth, and then when he finally tells his gets his band members to realize, hey, winter is reality. That's when they end up going over to the fortune teller, and she basically tells them, yeah, winter is a reality. It is coming, and you guys better prepare for it. But she also says that she's also the one that tells them that Antoinette went back to the ant hill, and she really, I think she really loves Cat, and she tells him that, and then she tells them who she is. Shows them who she is. Actually, she goes to her full height and shows them that she is an ant, and they realize that she is the queen, and the queen ant, and they're like kind of amazed, and she's like, well, I think it's about time that I go make sure that certain ideas are squelched. So help me get back to the anthill, and uh, we'll set things straight. So the four crickets end up carrying her, and they get kind of blown to the anthill on their way. And meanwhile, oh well, what do you guys think of all this so far? I should stop and ask. What did you think about the fact that she was revealed to be the queen ant and all that jazz?
Uh, uh, I thought it was a really interesting moment, like when she started to reveal herself. The way it was animated made it extremely dramatic. It kind of made me think she would turn out to be some villain or something. But then when it was revealed who she really was, like she was still a good one, which. In turn made me wonder why exactly did she decide to leave the entail and go play a psychic there to begin with, since she was the queen of the entail, leaving that spot must have been a radical decision for her, and we didn't really find out why she did that.
We kind of did. She went out there there to figure out because I think she was open-minded herself. She wanted to make sure that the things that they had always thought were wrong or right. She wanted to see why they thought the way they thought about crickets. I don't think she fully believed all all the crap that they'd been telling their aunts for years. Um, so I think she found her proof and decided it was time to put those rumors at bay. Uh, Even though the rumors were told as tales to scare the ants into submission.
Uh, yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So, but meanwhile, um, Antoinette, I feel bad for her because as soon as she gets back, everyone kind of like controls her life and tries to make it that Antiodor is in fact like her affianced, and he wants to show her this building that he thought that he had built this place for her or whatnot, but I think he more built it for him, and evidently he had other things in mind because he ended she was starting to show signs of you know pushing him off, pushing him away, telling him to get lost, and he locked her inside the room. Well, ultimately, that wasn't going to be like the end of it all. As we saw, the four crickets and the queen ant end up being blown to the top of this thing, and Ket, he ends up jumping down and bringing her out side, and the darn thing fell. And that's when,
Spudaw!
yep, that's when Queen Ant decided to step in and be like, here, welcome this band, hear this music. It's not so bad. And the ants started to scream and run around. But once they realized who was speaking to them, then they started to stay in place. But Antiodor marched in with his father and some of the clan of ants, and he tried to interfere. It didn't work. In fact, his father was more like, "Why don't you just stop and listen to the music? It actually sounds cool, you know." At least that was um, uh, the idea that I was getting off of his father, and he sounded just like a whiny brat by the end of everything, and he ended up being blown away by the wind or whatnot, and that's when not wind, he was
he
blown away by
he
a
snowflake.
snowflake. Those snowflakes were pretty big. And
Oh yeah, that reminds me. The psychic had a snail which was apparently smaller than an ant. Now, how is that possible?
no clue.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Sorry, Kroll, what did you say?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, maybe they were just baby snails, and baby snails were more magical. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it was definitely an interesting moment because shortly later that guy that was spelling the doom of winter said, and now it's winter. By the end of the whole fiasco. So, what did y'all think about this final scene of the Queen Ant convincing the ant folk to that music was okay and all that jazz? Um, did it seem
Uh,
like she just waved her hand and said a few words and that was that? You know, her word was the law.
well, maybe she did convince them a little too easily, but then again, I guess it's because it's a children's movie, and going into some big discussion about that, I guess it it wouldn't be something that would be keeping children's attention at that point, I imagine.
No, I imagine not. Uh, Tammy, what did you think about what happened to Theodore, and did you think he got what was coming to him? Tammy,
Whoop.
Tammy,
Yeah,
did you
there it goes. There it goes. What now? It was glitching.
what did you think about what happened to Theodore and the final scene of the song, and how the Queen was able to um, instigate the music into their lifestyles again?
I thought that was cool. I mean, it um, it's it was cool that they finally like overcame their fears and and incorporated it and it um because at first she was walking in the hallway and people were, oh, that's her, and like snubbing her and things like that, and all because the rumor was out there about the music and about her kind of like fraternizing with the crickets, and then when everything all comes down, it's like all these people or all these ants that were against it, they ended up all having a good time,
Yeah.
So
What did you think about the ending, Kroll? Did you think that it was a well-rounded ending?
Kroll.
Yep.
What did you think about the ending here?
About what?
About the ending?
Oh, it was good. I mean, like I said earlier, the villainous, whatever he is, he got what he deserved. Snowflake flying him off. And I thought it was funny. His dad's like, being home in time for dinner.
Well, there was actually one thing that kind of confused me about the ending. Like throughout the whole movie, they were saying that since the crickets weren't believing in winter, like they were in danger of dying from it. But then in the end, when winter came, the crickets were all outside in the open, in the cold, and nothing was happening to them. So how?
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming that now they know that winter is there and they've got a home to go to, like during the night now. You know, um, they never really had a home to speak of.
Huh. Maybe, I guess.
But that being said, maybe they weren't in as much danger as they thought, but I can't imagine winter hadn't arrived to them before. That's why I kind of question the whole believing that there was no such thing as winter. It, it, they acted like they'd been around for a while. Although
Well,
I don't know the span of a cricket's life.
yeah.
So could
Mm,
they have been alive on the Earth long enough to experience winter? I think so. But they obviously thought it was a myth. So you gotta extend some area of misbelief, of belief in some of the story. So
tuh.
it's a story that was probably told at bedtime to children at one point in time. I mean, Aesop is an old storyteller, and the fact that he came up with all of these stories is amazing. Oftentimes Aesop's fables were meant to be more moralistic and have um, a meaning to them, at the end of everything. So, at the end of the movie, what did we think about the production, Tammy?
I thought it was good. I mean, it's animation. So you don't have really any like special effects or anything to talk about because it's animation. You know. So I thought they did a good job though. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm not really big into cartoons. I kind of pick and choose what I like as far as but I liked how they made the characters, um, and everything. You know, whoever did the designing or the drawing used their imagination to make up these characters. I think what did a good job. I thought it was cute with the band having their own like kind of look and everything like that. That was that was neat. So I think the production was good. I mean, it 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 had a little. They had a storyline. They had you know all the
All the different places that the crickets ended up playing, and
right.
that.
I thought it was well put together. Like it said, I'm not real big into cartoons, and I liked it because of how it was put together. I thought they did a good job.
Okay. What about you, Crow? What did you think about production?
No, I thought it was good. I thought they did, like I had said, it seemed like a Pixar movie to me, except for the foreign language, which, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I had no idea what they were saying, except when they were like saying a person's name. And the music, like I said, it was it was fun, even though, I read the words and knew what it was saying, but listening to it, it still sounded good, even though that's what I love about music is it can transcend languages. Even if you know what they're saying, it still can sound good to you. So I think they did a really good job with the music and with the production. It didn't really need anything outrageous. Just basic, good animation, and that's what we got. That's what I enjoyed.
Okay. What about you, Boris? What did you think about the production?
Well, as Tammy says, it's animation, so how can we talk about special effects when the whole thing technically consists of special effects? uh, but yeah, I think it was really well animated. As Kroll says, if I had stumbled upon this movie on TV, I would have also thought it's an American animation with a Croatian dub. I wouldn't have figured out it's actually Croatian if I hadn't known it. So yeah, I would say the production is really very good. There is nothing I can complain about except the unanswered question how there can be a snail smaller than an
Okay.
ant.
I thought the animation was pretty good myself. I mean, it it didn't look that far off from like Pixar or Illumination or something like that. More probably Pixar. Um, I would stick this up against and compare it to some of the early adaptations of bug movies. So that being said, I thought that they did a good representation of like where the anthill was, how the ants looked, how blades of grass looked, and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, and we talked a little bit about the music already. I think the music was pretty folksy. Um, as far as the music goes, but it sounded good to me. So I think they did a good job on the music aspect of the film. Let's go into favorite scenes and our favorite characters. Let's start with you, Boris. Favorite scenes and our favorite characters.
Favorite character could be Antoinette or could be the psychic or the queen, whatever you want to call her. Kind of difficult to choose one, but I think I would go with Antoinette after all because like I said, I find her thinking out of the box and questioning everything, questioning the social norms and the system as a whole. I find that very relatable. So I think I would choose her as my favorite character. And favorite scene? Who? Interesting question. Uh, well, I think I would go with the final scene when the queen comes and resolves everything.
Okay. What about you, Carl? Favorite scenes and or favorite characters.
Favorite characters is Antoinette. I'd say Cat is probably a close second. They're a cute couple. Nothing like the second guy did, the grandmother. Definitely. And yeah, the final scene was definitely the best part of the movie.
Okay. What about you, Tammy?
I think they have to be Antoinette is my favorite because I like her as we've been talking about thinking outside the box. She knows that there's more out there. She wants what's out there, and um, so I like how goes. She goes against everything, but she doesn't go against everything in a um, in a destructive or bad way. She makes her she makes her point without being, you know, nasty, destructive, or or angry or whatever. You know what I mean? She she's got a good head on her shoulders, and she makes her point without having to do it in a wrong way. You know. So
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit for that. And favorite scene, well, yeah, I do like the ending, like everybody was saying, but I like the very beginning concert too. I like that.
Okay.
Who?
I as well like that beginning concert myself. As far as favorite scenes, I think I like I think I like the scene where the whole entire anthill fell and it then became a musical.
Spudao.
um, as far as favorite characters, I like Kat and I like Antoinette. Antoinette for the same reasons that you guys do. I mean, uh, she was able to show to even the crickets that ants can do more than meets the eye. Um, ants weren't known for singing, so
Yeah.
that was definitely something that she definitely had going for herself. And uh, when she was so disappointed that she did not have the raspberry hat, um, and was told that it was not the raspberry hat that made her sing like she did. It was actually, in fact, inside of her. You know. Um,
Indeed. Oh yeah, which in turn makes me wonder at the time when the hat disappeared and she thought she couldn't sing without it. Why was she not being honest with the crickets about it? Why did she not tell them directly that she couldn't sing without the hat?
well,
But
she
she
did. She was, and they were like, "But it's just a hat," you know. Uh, she tried to tell them that it was a magical hat while she was bitching about it. She couldn't
uh,
sing without the hat because she thought that that's what helped her sing. You know, it and she felt like now that she didn't have it, that she couldn't sing. So, but that being said, those were some of my favorite. So, and the fact that he was carried away by a snowflake. Which, if you know the meaning of someone being called a snowflake,
yes, yes. Uh, as I like to say about the internet snowflakes, instead of everyone sucking up to them, they should be received. If they are snowflakes, they should be received with a flamethrower.
uh, but in any case, um, that being said, did anyone else have anything else to add to this movie?
Mm, I don't think so. Like I said, it's something very different from what I usually go for. But regarding that fact, like I said before, I enjoyed it much more than I expected, and I'm glad I watched it.
I think everybody enjoyed it a little bit much more than they expected. So hopefully you out there have enjoyed our discussion on this film. I knew it probably wouldn't take us that long, but that being said, let us know down in the comments what you thought of the movie. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it. Apparently, there is a way to see it on YouTube with the subtitles. So go out and see it. It is a
Whew.
movie from 2023, and I had a blast watching it. So, that being said, everyone say good night.
Good night,
Good night. Hey,
everyone.
what's next week?
Say good day. I say
Wait,
good.
who is next week, anyways?
Oh yeah, next week I am not here because I am attending
That's right.
a convention in Zagreb where I will have a presentation of my novel that I self-published on Amazon KDP.
So we
Uh,
gotta take
So
a break. A
we're
break
gonna
then.
take a break, and then we'll come back. And I'm thinking, whose turn is it? I believe it's Kroll's, right?
uh, Actually, I think you said it was going to be my turn next. The last three movies we did.
We we skipped the turn again because Danny was sick, so it's it's changing.
Yep. So
Mm,
I believe it is Kroll's turn next, right?
Yeah, I go after you.
So, and then we'll come back in 2 weeks. And Kroll, did you have your choice in mind, or
No,
no, not yet?
I thought about it, but I don't know. I'm still thinking.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Interesting.
we'll have to come back and surprise you folks out there who follow us. So, good night, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great evening, morning, or afternoon wherever you are.
Yeah, good night, everyone.
Good night.